guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and we know they are really groovy.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys and a Gal Talking About Movies. And today we're going to be talking about legendary Swedish director Ingmar Bergman. Bergman was born in Sweden in Up, Uppsala, Sweden, in July of 1918. Sorry, and passed away also in Sweden in July of 2007. He had a very long and distinguished career in film. And today, as I said, and well, sorry, I should have had those cocktails before the show. Um, so to discuss Mr. Bergman and his movies, let me bring up my wonderful co-hosts, the man of 1,001 voices, Mr. Rory Penland.
Okay.
And
Had a few Mickeys before the show, did you?
well, and the always erudite and delightful Alana Lang.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Ingmar Bergman. A lot of people probably heard of him, and his movies have been very, very influential on a lot of other directors, a lot of American directors, people like David Lynch and Quentin Tarantino, and of course Woody Allen has paid
Martin
tribute
Scorsese.
to, and Martin Scorsese. His movies tend to be kind of almost existential. Uh, they aren't they aren't sort of fun and well, they can be fun, I guess, but they deal with very deep, uh, sometimes very spiritual subjects. For me, a lot of what his movies are about are relationships,
Yeah.
not just physical relationships, but mental and spiritual relationships, and the difficulties of relationships and how tenuous they can be, how easily they can fracture. Um, and so that's when going through this catalog of movies, which, to be honest, it was really difficult to pick just five for the top and even five for the
Absolutely.
honorable mention. Because yeah, I mean, you could almost just grab random titles and you'd have a great list because he was just that good and
A
just that
lot of his
prolific.
movies have been made like on the top 100 lists,
Hmm.
of movies, top 100, 200 movies, just about
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Ilana, before the show, we were talking about Bergman, and you had some insights. What you felt was
Oh,
what you
I,
felt
I
about
think
Bergman and
I,
his
I
and his
had
movies.
mentioned that, and I'll talk about it more later. I saw a documentary called A Day in a Life.
Hmm.
Bergman, a year in the life from 2018. And it was about 3 hours and it talked about a number of his movies. It actually made me enjoy some of his movies more because I had some understanding of how he saw his movies. Like he goes into great detail about how he sees Wild Strawberries and why it's such an important movie to him, as well as Fanny and Alexander. And one of the things that I found interesting was he spent, I believe it was a year. A lot of countries have like a year where you go outside of your country and visit another country and live there. And he went to Germany on something like that when he was about 18 years old. And he was very caught up in the movement of the Third Reich. And he did not believe about the camps. He thought they were just rumors. So for 10 years of his life, from 18 to 28, that was when he went to Germany, until when the camps were liberated. He was a huge Nazi sympathizer, and he thought it was a great way of life. And then when the camps were liberated, he was just shocked and horrified, especially with himself. And a lot of his movies, I noticed it, especially in Persona, Mrs. Volger is looking at a picture in her bedroom of the Warsaw Ghetto Boy, which is a famous photograph. And we see a number of other, photos or symbols or memorabilia of the Holocaust, because a big part of Bergman's life when he was 28 was making up for the shame. There's the Swedes have something called Swedish angst, and they also have like a Swedish shame. So it's very permeating for them. And he spent most of his movies, if you pay attention, after he was 28, dropping little hints about how sorry he was and how disgusted with himself he was that he actually got swept up in something so horrible, and thought that the horror that he had heard about was not true. So I thought that was very a very interesting element that, when you are looking for it or you're aware of it, you do see that come out in a lot of his movies. And then, like you said, his movies deal a lot with relationships, but they also deal with inner relationships, like you and yourself, which, what that happens, especially with Persona, the fracturing of oneself. And, I can just say that Persona is my number one movie. So we could lead into that.
Yeah. But before we get into that, I want to get Rory's perspective.
Sure.
How familiar were you with Bergman, and how do you feel about him now that you've seen a lot of his movies?
I didn't see a lot of his movies until this week. I'd seen The Seventh Seal. I've seen The Seventh Seal, and I get its story. And it's his artistic way of portraying it. And I understand that he was something special in the 50s and the 60s, when filmmaking was changing. It was going through a change. It was just trying to become more an artistic form. Personally, me, I'm a guy that just wants to be entertained when I watch movies. And sometimes some of the people that imitate Bergman get a little pretentious, and it's just you're too aware of it. And I don't like that. I don't like movies to be like that. But yeah, I enjoy him as a storyteller. I enjoy his characters in his movies. And again, I've got a lot more respect for him after watching some of the movies that I'd never seen this week. Yeah. But I'm not worthy of being on this show at this time.
No.
No, it's great to have a different perspective. Honestly,
Exactly.
I was watching The Seventh Seal, so I'm just going to bring this up really fast. And I had what you said in mind. And I was thinking, under Shakespeare's definition of a comedy and a tragedy, if Seventh Seal is actually a comedy, because it was much more disturbing than I thought. But the end was very hopeful, very uplifting. Like, I understand that there are people that, they're seeing people go to death, but the couple and the baby, they're going off to a new life, So that seems to me to be, not a tragedy by Shakespeare, but a comedy and uplifting. And I think I never really noticed that before, and I actually kind of forgot when I had seen it that couple watches them go up the mountain and then goes off to this happy life. In my head, it ended with the people holding hands going up the mountain with death. And I forgot that, you know, this movie ends so in such a hopeful, you know, thank goodness the baby's okay kind of way. So I thought that was, and you know, the people who are going to their death, they're not hugely sympathetic. And so that also kind of seemed to me like, yeah, like people say that there's a certain level of humor in his movies, and I guess I didn't really notice that until this time. And so that was very interesting. I went down a whole bunch of rabbit holes with him because he's one of my favorite directors.
Easy to do.
So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's
thank
let's
you,
go ahead.
Rory, for giving that perspective to me so that I could see it in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Alana, you mentioned that Persona is your number one movie.
Yes.
So can you
Sure.
tell us a little bit about that? Tell us why.
Persona is on my all-time every movie in the whole universe, like top 10 list. And it has been since I first saw it when I was in directing class in college. So I've been obsessed with this movie since the mid 90s. You know, I just love how it deals with so much. It deals with existentialism. It deals with this woman who's decided to become mute. And, you know, I love the way the movie opens with Nurse Alma, who's supposed to take care of Miss Vogler, this actress, and she worries that she's not going to be strong-willed enough. And, you know, I'm watching this movie. So anyway, they stay in the doctor's beach house, and Nurse Alma takes care of the once actress Miss Vogler. And I'm thinking, like, Alma's the worst nurse in the entire universe. You know, I don't think I ever felt like that before. And that's probably colored by the fact that, you know, I've been dealing with chronic illness myself since 2016 or 2014, we're not sure. But I kept thinking, like, oh my God, this woman is not sane. And she's the worst nurse ever. And it was just so funny to me that I had these different thoughts because I've probably seen this movie 20 times. Like, I used to watch it every single year, and then I got sick and didn't have the opportunity to watch, you know, movies, especially not subtitled movies. So yeah, I love it. I love the meta aspect of it. I love that it opens up with this thing that we don't quite understand. And actually, I did a bunch of research because it was available to me, you know, this time. Like, we were talking about how in Google did not actually come to be publicly used until 1998. So I was already well into grad school by then. So all of the work I did in college, you know, on a movie like Persona was at the library or through these Criterion Collection discs. Yeah. And so there,
it started with laser discs and then went on into DVDs. Yeah.
And the DVD collections were expensive, but they were amazing. If you were a film lover, like it was everything in the world was put into this book. But again, you know, it was everything in the world that they gave you, which was an enormous amount of information. But of course, now that, you know, I can look things up, I was very excited to have a chance to, like, okay, what does that mean? Why is that said twice? Why, you know, and, you know, who's the little boy who apparently represents, by some viewers, the lost son of Mrs. Vogler, and by some viewers represents Bergman himself. Bergman has always made women characters, and on some level the women characters that he makes are very well fleshed out, but he is a man putting feelings into these female characters. And so another thing I looked up that was fascinating was his representation of women. And one thing I came back with was in persona, he's a young boy watching this film, and he is represented as, he's representing himself as somebody who is a beginner at dissecting. He couldn't fully fathom all of these women's roles and characters and emotions, but he's trying to. And I thought that was a very beautiful and interesting entrance into the movie. I had no clue who the boy was, and I had heard that it might be the lost son, but I like what I learned about, it being Bergman. And I mean, I could go on and on. I could teach a class or a semester on this movie, but it's just wonderful, and I love it. And every time I see it, I learn different things and I notice different things. And yeah, it's definitely one of my all-time favorite movies.
Cool. All right. Rory, what's your number one?
I'm going to go with the obvious, The Seventh Seal. It was the first Bergman film I'd ever seen when I was a young man. I think I saw it in a class. And again, I was enthralled with the storytelling, with the basically the subject matter, the fact that death could actually be represented as a character and play chess with you, and how you think you can fool death, and it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it usually ends up bad for other people. I'll be honest with you, knowing comedy as I do, I've never looked at it as a comedy.
Isn't that funny that you inspired me to then?
No, I never saw it as a comedy. It's definitely a drama. And to me, there is a comical character in it, and the guy, the jester, the clown,
he's the one that survives. And
he survives. With the most beautiful woman in the film, and the baby survives, and it's a great happy ending. And again, the people who think they can cheat death, fool death, they all end up, taking the dance up the hill, Mm-hmm. So again, very interesting story. We're talking about a plague, a Black Death. Plague that's ravaging the country, and Bergman turns it into a delightful drama
that under Shakespeare might be a comedy.
Very, what? It's funny that you say Shakespeare, because it does have a kind of a Shakespearean feel to it.
Yeah,
it does, in the way that it kind of unfolds.
Well, I think it's really interesting, right? Because like every story ever told was told by Shakespeare, and it's kind of like every movie ever made was made by Bergman, and you know what I mean? So like you see all of this.
Kind of feels that way, yeah.
Whenever you're watching any movie or any play or any kind of anything, there are always hints of Shakespeare in it, whether the person loves Shakespeare or doesn't, because, honestly, we all have to learn Shakespeare ad nausea. But I mean, I love Shakespeare, but we do, know, and it was really interesting to see Bergman then carry on a lot of that, and then how it goes into like David Lynch. And, I even had like Lars von Trier was talking about how much he loved him. And I was like, oh my God, there are hints of like the Seventh Seal and some other Bergman movies in the Antichrist that I can't get out of my head. And it was just so interesting to me, how everybody kind of takes the best of somebody else and then works it in their own way.
Well, my number one, I've got it, just like Rory, is The Seventh Seal. And it's funny that he said that. It's funny that you said that that you saw it in class, because I distinctly remember I saw Seventh Seal in a movie in a class about symbolism in movies. And certainly.
Well,
Bergman.
I mean, he had made a few movies in the late 40s and the 50s before that, but that's the one he really. Broke out of the gate. He really caught his stride with that one. And everybody, I'm sure at the time, was talking about, that movie, I bet.
Isn't that interesting,
for years to come.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's not one of the Oscar winners. You know what I mean? Like that's so interesting to me that he
I
did
know.
win 3 Oscars, and I have those movies written down.
Well,
And it's
what's
interesting
horrible
that
though
that
is a lot of
wasn't.
his films that should have been, given an
Mhm.
Oscar nod didn't get an Oscar nod for some
Yeah.
stupid reason. They actually ended up rewriting the criteria for foreign films in the Oscars because of
Oh,
that.
so all of them weren't him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. It would have just swept the awards. And I want to say this, that it's funny that you brought up Shakespeare and comedy, because, as you know, and I know you, and Rory, I know you know this, that whole plot of playing chess with death was, of course, used in the Bill and Ted sequel.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, I
to
remember
great
that.
effect,
Yeah, of course.
wonderful effect, and
You sank my battleship.
yeah, and so
They're playing all kinds of
so
games. Twister.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
So that
Did
was
you?
great.
That was a great
I
riff on
just
that.
want to
Yeah.
go off on a really
Yeah.
small tangent. So I'm very disappointed that I cannot get to New York City because Bill and Ted, i.e., Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves, they just finished doing Waiting for Godot on
Waiting for
Broadway.
Godot.
Yes.
I would have killed to see that show, but
Oh,
I just couldn't get,
would've been-
I'm not well enough to go. But oh my God, I
Yeah.
just love
I'm
that
sure that was
Bill and
terrific.
Ted
Yeah.
are waiting for Godot.
Yeah,
I'm sure
dude,
somebody videotaped
we're
it.
waiting for Godot.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Oh my God, I
Yo.
heard them talk about it on a talk show.
That
and
Godot?
It was just like the best.
Godot's most
What are we-
righteous.
What are we doing? We're waiting for Godot. Oh,
Hopefully they'll
Yes.
rerun it or something because I know
I'm-
they had fun
I'm sure
doing
they
it.
will.
But oh my
Yeah,
God, I would
yeah,
love to see
yeah.
that.
yeah. But anyway, getting back to Seventh Seal, there's a line that just leapt out at me, and it's when Max von Sydow, as this Crusader knight named Block, is talking to death in this church, and of course they're talking about God, and they're talking about why can't I feel him anymore? And he says that we have carved an idol out of our fear and call it God. And I thought, wow, what a statement! What a way of looking at it. We've carved an idol out of our fear and called it God. And
Well, of course,
I
Death would say that.
no, Max von Sydow says that.
Oh,
He's having this moment of doubt, this moment of like, why did I spend all this time fighting in the Holy Land only to come back? And now, where is God's mercy? Where is his reward? Where is his, we did all these things for him, in the name of God, and yet we come home and everybody's dead or dying, of this plague. And that informs a lot of his movies. This what's called the silence of God, like
yeah.
where
that's kind of. I'm
and I
sorry.
think
Several of his pictures, yeah.
yeah, and I think getting back to what Alana was talking about, him sort of being a Nazi sympathizer, but then changing his mind once he saw the actual atrocities and the liberation of the camps. I think maybe that's the root of it. That's where he kind of thought, wait a minute, how could God allow this? How could God allow this kind of suffering? And so I thought that brought that question to his mind, and that really informed a lot of his movies. A lot of his characters, whether they're clergymen or not, and there's a lot of discussion among characters about God and the nature of God, whether it exists, it doesn't, or whether, why doesn't he do certain things, or why certain things happen. And again, it always comes back to this idea of silence. In fact, there was a movie called The Silence,
Mhm.
which spoke to that. But anyway, moving
You know,
on.
just to mention something about that, that's actually really
Sure.
fascinating to me because it when you said that, I just got
Mhm.
very strong, like I don't know what to say, like vibes, like Golden Calf vibes. You know
Mm.
how like
Mm.
he's very, very. He deals with religion and God, and
Mhm.
I don't doubt that there is probably some kind of like that's some kind of reference, and that definitely makes me think of the Mount Sinai, and God is giving Moses the Ten Commandments, and he comes back down, and the people have actually built an idol of their fear in the form of a golden calf. So
Oh,
that's
good
really
point.
fascinating. I never really
Yeah.
made
Yeah.
that connection or thought
Where's your
about that too
Messiah
much.
now?
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
really
M.T. Robinson.
there
That
were
is,
a lot of there are a lot of things like he wrote all of his films, and some of the words, like I was trying to just like, okay, memorize this one, memorize that one, because
Mhm.
especially in Through a Glass Darkly, oh my god, some of the words that he wrote are just so powerful. And
Father spoke to me.
oh my god is a spider. Like try, oh my god, that was
Yeah.
really intense.
Well, uh, so Alana, what's your number two then?
Oh, okay. So my number two actually was one I hadn't seen before, and that was Fanny and Alexander. And
Okay.
I
That's my number two
really,
too.
yeah, it's so good. I mean, I
It's
was
in
kind of
color.
like, oh my God, it's 3 hours long. But,
Oh, it's longer than that. But you like me, I decided to just watch the edited version, which was a three
yes,
hour movie. Yeah.
yeah, but it was engaging. It was extremely engaging. It was
Hmm.
Yeah.
so good. It was a deep sense of dread. It was like the worst horror movie I've ever seen. Like, I just could not shake this. I was so scared every second.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And then, he always has some sort of theater going on. I love the puppets in this
Mm,
movie, and I
mm.
love the angles that he gets Alexander, that he shoots Alexander from, like in the puppets. It's amazing. There's this horrible creepiness, and
Mhm.
the boy who nobody quite, they have him locked up and nobody quite understands what's wrong with him. He, I guess, has mental powers that he can make people do things. And the whole like fire scene, where the evil guy dies, but the evil guy is like trying to repent and make his family, like he doesn't know how to make them love him. And like just when you're like maybe starting to sympathize, just drop with him, oh, now he's lit on fire. It's just like it's not, they're not supposed to be horror movies, but they have this weird sense of humor, this weird sense of horror, this weird sense of
Well, and again,
it's
you're talking about the
dread.
antagonist in the film, who happens to be a man of God.
Yeah,
Yeah, who's taken this woman and her children into his home, but he's an authoritarian, and they just don't work well with that, especially Alexander. So yeah, he's physically abusing a child. So this
yeah.
is a man of God. So it's again Bergman questioning religion and how sometimes religion gets twisted.
And where's the safe
Mhm.
place? The safe place is with the family who owns and runs the theater.
Mm.
Mhm.
And that's very interesting. So like, can theater, I don't want to I don't want to get too metaphysical or like go down any too many rabbit holes, but you know does theater actually have power over God? Like I think that that's also something about Persona.
For
What power
some,
does film have? And
Mhm.
what do they actually do to us? And I think that a lot of that depends on your own religious beliefs and what you put into his movies too. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that about theater, because we were talking about the influence of Shakespeare, and I kind of get that feeling that it's that same idea of, all life is stage,
mhm,
uh, you know, that Shakespeare says, that we're just actors on a stage going through the motions. We
mhm,
come on stage and then we leave. We go off stage, meaning we're dead. Uh, so I think that is part of it as well. That we are that we're performers, and I think that's what implied, if I remember correctly, with that whole puppet show in
mhm.
in Fanny and Alexander, is that we are puppets in a way. That we think we have free will, that we think we're acting independently, but that it's possible that we're not, that we're
Right.
being
That we have
puppeteered
strings.
by some higher force.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
it's
certainly
all.
one way of looking at it.
I mean, that's why you could make a class on,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, any
I'm
one
sure
of
people
his
have.
films and definitely comparing them. I mean, Persona
Yeah,
also has,
yeah.
Miss Vogler in the middle of Electra, in the middle of
Hmm.
playing Electra, just has a nervous
Yeah,
breakdown and ultimately
yeah,
falls mute because she doesn't want to have herself fit into roles, and she wants, where's truth? So
yeah,
is truth God? Is truth in the theater? Is truth like, yeah, I could talk about this for I mean, this is a
yeah,
lot of what my MFA is. So I mean,
yeah.
I'm
All
obsessed
right.
with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I
All right.
was
So,
raised very religiously. I was raised in an Orthodox Jewish background, and so
hmm,
to me, when somebody uses something, I can't help but think, even though I personally, I'm an atheist, for various reasons, yeah, I know. I see myself in this tradition, which is the
hmm,
Jewish tradition. And I think
right.
that, like you had made mention of something that goes back to the golden calf for me. Like, it's
Mhm.
very fascinating. And the whole fact, yes, like you said about all the, we're all players. So, like, is there a God pulling the strings? Do we have power of our own? Like, what does God actually do to us? I think that there are a number of times in his different movies where they're trying to figure out what God does, who God
Hmm.
is God a
Yeah.
father, is God a punisher, is it like, it's very, I know that he struggled with all of these thoughts too, and it's
Hmm.
just I think any atheist is going to you
Yeah.
know have
Well, I'm always
so
reminded.
much.
I'm reminded of a line from The Devil's Advocate, where uh, um, Al Pacino, as the
Pacino.
lawyer, said comments to Keanu Reeves that God is an absentee landlord.
Hmm.
And you kind of get that same feeling from a lot of Bergman's
Yeah,
movies, that yes, God is out there, but that he's
he's
not
like a
really involved.
slumlord, like with the
Yeah,
plague and all
yeah,
that. Like, it's
exactly,
really
exactly.
fascinating.
That, which again goes back to that idea of the silence of God. But anyway,
Hmm.
uh, Rory, you said that Fanny and Alexander was your number two as
The
well.
only thing I want to add to that is I just thought it was wonderful that they actually gave him, Bergman, a huge budget to make a film with, and he made it into a
Yeah, it
huge
was
David Lean, grandiose
amazing.
character stage
Hmm.
performance. Yeah, or you know,
Yeah,
story, which is
yeah,
which he should have gotten more chances to do.
Yeah.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
Scenes from a Marriage is, you could tell, is shot on a very limited budget. The poor guy had to make movies with very small budgets in most
Which is
cases.
yeah,
interesting because he was greatly celebrated during his time. So I guess there just was limited funding.
yeah.
But some of his plays, because the whole time he's putting on all of these like millions of movies that he made, he's also doing millions of plays.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to see um I was interested in finding, taping of one of his plays, but they didn't have the one I wanted to see. I wanted to see Peer Gynt. I'm a very big Ibsen fan also,
Mm.
and Strindberg fan, and so it was really, I don't know, it's kind of like coming home. I hadn't seen that for
Yeah.
a while, and
All right.
yeah.
Okay. So my number 2 is Persona, which we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fascinating movie. Definitely can see the influence on. It reminded me of David Lynch. It reminded me of
Mulholland
Mulholland
Drive.
Drive. Two women, the whole issue of identity,
Mm-hmm.
and also in a more sort of silly vein, in a single white female, somebody taking over somebody else's
Mm-hmm.
personality or persona. And of course, we had to have the almost requisite appearance by Gunnar Bjornstrand, who is one of Bergman's rotating group of favorite actors.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Max von Sydow wasn't in it. But we got Lee Woolman and B.B. Anderson in the movie, so there's that. But yeah, I think to me, going back to this idea of the theater and film, persona is also about us. You
Yes.
talked about the boy possibly being Bergman. I also think he's also a representative of us as as the viewer, as the audience, looking at this. And he's toying with us. He's saying, okay, I'm going to tell you the story of these two women, but it's only a story. These aren't real people. And I think that's something that, a lot of European directors certainly played with the idea of, hey, movies are just
Yeah.
images on a screen, because that's how the movie starts. That's how a persona starts. We see the film actually running through a projector. There's a quick flash of a penis in the beginning of the movie. I just had to
Yeah.
throw that out there. And it
You think it was
ends.
Bergman's penis?
I don't
I'm not even
know.
going to
I mean,
speculate.
everybody
That was
in
one of
the
the things
Probably.
that
house
turned me
already
off to the
saw
film.
it.
It
So
was a little too
maybe
pretentious in how it presented it. Yeah,
he was
just
not
Yeah.
shy about sex. He
it
was
made my
Yeah.
all.
honorable mention list, but it didn't make my top 5.
Yeah. But anyway,
So this was
and it
interesting.
ends with.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say
No, go
about the
ahead. Go ahead.
penis. I did see that it was supposed to,
It was an
again,
uncut penis.
these women are seen through a patriarchal gaze. And I think that because, I was trying to hold on to what is that film? What is that film? What is that film? I never really broke it down. And so I did some research on it, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, he really is not shy about sex, though. There is an
No,
enormous
no,
amount of sex
no.
in every movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, it's fairly tame for a Swedish film as far as the sex is concerned. But
Yeah.
and of course, it was the '60s.
And the
But
fact that it was a young boy watching a penis. Anyway.
exactly. Exactly. So anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up about the theater and about film and about sort of playing with the medium itself, and just reminding us you're watching a movie, from
Mhm.
beginning to end.
Well, it's actually
Uh,
bookended, right? It's
exactly,
bookended
it's bookended, and in
by
fact, there's even a moment in the movie where the film
deteriorates.
supposedly burns, and then we start again. So all right, so let's move on to number 3. Alana, what's your third film? What's your third on your list?
Okay, so I kind of cheated. My third film is is 2 of them.
No
The
problem.
Seventh Seal, because of course the Seventh Seal is a brilliant movie and it had to go somewhere. But really, my third film is Through a Glass Darkly, which I had not seen up until a couple days ago, and I was just floored. It completely blew me away. And as I said, there are all of these absolutely beautiful lines in it. I wish my memory was doing better right now, because there is something that the woman's father says to her that is just stunning and amazing, and I wanted to remember it. But this woman is dealing with her schizophrenia, and she is having problems trying to live, in the medicated world versus the unmedicated world. And, her family is struggling to deal with her her illness as well. And it's just I can't remember who was the main actress in it, but she's amazing. And it was just so stunning. And again, just full of dread and questioning, questioning what is, again, what's truth, is the way that she sees the world. Is that real? Is that not real? And when you think that somebody has schizophrenia and you think that they're seeing things, like what exactly is happening in reality?
It's Harriet Anderson.
Harriet Anderson. Oh, I wonder if she's related to B.B. Anderson. Probably, right?
I think that was a common name. We were talking about this with Bergman.
Oh, right.
Ingrid
Anderson
Bergman and Ingmar
gotta
Bergman.
be,
They're not related, but it's a very common name over there.
Anderson, I'm sure, is.
Yeah.
Do you think Hans Christian?
Wonderful movie. Yeah, they're all related.
They're all. It's just one family in. No, let's not go there. Okay.
And Gunnar was in it. Gunnar Borgstrand and Max von Sydow.
Of course. Rory, what's your number 3?
That's actually part of a trilogy. It's the first part, actually, of what's called the Bergman trilogy from the early 60s. The second one is my number 3, but this gives me a chance to talk about all 3 movies at the same time. And that's Winter Light, which is one of his commentaries on religion and how it works for some people and how it doesn't work for other people, and how, even people of the faith question, the silence of God, like you said. The minute you see Max von Sydow in this film, you're like, this guy's going to kill himself. It's an amazing between the lines performance where he barely speaks. He barely speaks in the film. Oh, wow. You just know he's going to kill himself. It's Liv Ullmann in that too, right? As the teacher. Is that Liv Ullmann?
I haven't seen this one.
I think it's. Oh no, it's Thulin. Forget her first name. Ingrid Thulin.
Okay. The film, surrounds Gunnar, who is a man of God. He's sick, and he's having to get through basically a day of, doing sermons to like empty houses. The town knows that he's had a kind of a fling with the school marm. She's totally in love with him, and he's like totally racked with guilt, for letting it happen. And he doesn't want to lead her on. He's not interested in her anymore. He's trying to get her to leave him alone. And it's one of the most powerful. It's really dark. It's one of Bergman's most powerful films that I watched this week. Anyway, of all the ones that I watched of him from this week, I'm so glad I watched it because I'd never seen it before. I watched the other 2. Through the Glass Darkly was good. It was a good film. And The Silence was good. That was a good film. But they just didn't quite have the oomph, the energy and the storytelling of Winter Light. And again, it was a very dark film, but and I usually don't like dark films, but for that one, it was just very powerful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've got another one on my list coming up.
Coming from you, that's really like, I feel like that I should see it.
Oh, Bergman gets darker. There's another one on the list that's just brutal. It's just brutal.
Anyway,
I'm okay. We'll get to that. We get to that.
I'm okay with that. But Yeah, I mean, when you're saying that movie that's that dark is that powerful and we're seeing, then that, I
Yeah.
mean, that speaks volumes. Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely want to see it. If
Yeah,
you liked what you
absolutely.
saw this week with Bergman, you definitely don't want to miss
Oh
that.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
Bergman. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
So my number 3
Mm.
is just to show that Bergman was not all darkness
Mm.
and
It's the comedy.
horror.
It's the one
It's
known comedy.
is Smiles of a Summer Night, which, again, we mentioned Shakespeare. This to me was the most Shakespearean of his movies. Delightful movie. Really talks about kind of the mores of the time. And again, we got Gunnar Bjornstrand as this very upright, lawyer who's married to a very young uh, wife, and but he had this previous affair relationship with a famous stage actress, and and she has another lover who's a soldier. He's in the military. Very jealous man who is also married. And like, but apparently it's just a very common thing to have mistresses and all this stuff. And
It's a
so they
common
wind up.
theme.
It's a very common theme, yeah. And so the actress who kind of wants to she winds up having this party at her mother's house, and brings these two couples together, and and then hilarity ensues, or as much hilarity as Bergman can
As
generate,
Bergman allows.
as Bergman allows. But like I said, it's very Shakespearean. And there's this saucy maid that works for Bjornstrand's family, who obviously has the hots for him, but she winds up, we guess, hooking up with somebody who works for the other family, and it's just a delightful romp, as they say. These two different couples and who gets wind up with who, and the young wife. He has a son who is studying. Again, you got to bring God into it. He's studying to be a minister, but he's having this crisis of conscience because he's in love with his mother-in-law,
Oh my
who
God.
is really
It
his
does
age.
sound like Shakespeare.
It sounds
Yeah.
like Twelfth Night. It does.
Yeah,
Exactly. It sounds very much like Twelfth
exactly.
Night.
That's what I was thinking. This is one
And
of Shakespeare's comedies.
yeah, and he's just torn up about it. But he's also he's also, you can tell that he has the hots for the maid, even though she keeps rejecting him, but teasing him at the same time. She's a very big tease. And so he's just like, oh, I don't even. And plus, his father is just very cold to him and just kind of thinks he's just, like, yeah, well, okay, you're going into the ministry, big whoop, you know. So it's a funny movie. It's a very funny movie.
Sounds like it.
And like I said,
One of the
just
ones I missed this
delightful.
week.
Oh well, you need.
I'll have to go back and check it out.
Just to kind of show that Bergman was capable of doing
I queued
things
it
that.
up because I wanted to see the comedy, but then I ran out of time, so that wasn't
Oh,
one of the ones I
I would
saw.
recommend. I highly recommend it. I highly
Yeah,
recommend
I
it.
actually still have it saved in my.
Yeah, it's very funny. I'm sure it's funnier in the original Swedish, but the subtitles still got me
Smiles of
through.
a Summer Night.
Smiles of a Summer Night. Yeah, I mean, even sounds like a Shakespearean title.
Yeah, it really, really all
Midsummer
of it
Night.
sounds very Shakespearean.
Exactly, Midsummer Night, Twelfth Night, like you said. So, anyway, so that's my number 3. So Alana, what was your number 4? What's your 4th film?
My fourth one, my fourth one is a beautiful movie, Wild Strawberries. Love
Okay.
Wild Strawberries. I love the pacing. It's fairly slow. It's about an older man who is not liked by his family, and he knows that death is near, and so he tries to reevaluate his life, and he does some things to show a gentler side to himself, which is very beautiful. And Bergman is really good at having these close-ups on people's faces, and then he goes into, some kind of reverie or some sort of memory. I can't think of the word, like a
Flashback.
pastiche.
It's like a
Yeah, but
flashback.
like
Yeah.
sometimes they're multiple things at once, and
Mhm.
yeah, of course it deals with death and with God and a lot of his other themes. But yeah, I think it was a very sweet movie. I mean, I could definitely see how somebody would find it sad, but I thought it
Mm.
was sweet because, he forges a relationship with his daughter-in-law, and he just becomes softer.
Mhm.
There,
Who doesn't like him?
right, and but
Yeah, he's trying
because
to make things right. He's trying to make
right, and
himself feel
that's
good about.
really
Yeah,
exactly, and that's really beautiful. So he's trying to like
yeah.
be a gentler, softer person and correct the starch, uptight person that he's been through his life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's it's just, the pacing goes like with that theme, and it's just a very beautiful, slow, um you kind of feel like you're like drifting through the river or something, watching things go
Yeah.
by, and it I really love that movie too.
Rory, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is called Shame. It
Mm.
is Bergman's. Is probably the one that he makes his commentary on war more than any of the
Mm-hmm.
other films. It's got Max von Sydow and Liv Ullmann in it, so it's got a great cast. It's very dark. Um, it's very gray, actually, like kind of a dark gray. He did that with a couple of his films. He tried to shoot. Winter Light was one of those films. He tried to get a certain lighting to make everything seem very kind of muddy gray. He was experimenting with that at the time. I was watching some extra footage from, I think it was Winter Light, where he talked about that. And Shame is definitely when he mentioned that, I had seen Shame before. I said, oh, he must have done that with Shame too, because it's very, very gray. It looks like a newsreel sometimes.
Oh, interesting.
Um, so yeah, the performances by Ullman. I think this is one of the earlier films that she did with him. Um, she's just phenomenal in it. It's funny, but I was watching Max von Sydow in it, and he comes across to me as kind of bumbling, kind of like a Woody Allen, in Bananas, kind of.
Hmm.
He just not quite sure what to do, or where to go, or what to say, or and it was extremely entertaining, but again, kind of dark and gray.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had to put it on the list. It's definitely a very loud commentary on war
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and how it affects everybody.
Mhm. Oh, cool. Well, my number 4 is Wild Strawberries, also.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, and I almost put it as my number 1 film. Uh, and now that I think about it, I probably should have, because I really love this movie, just like Alana.
Mm.
Um, the and again, it goes back to this theme of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You have the older professor's relationship with his daughter-in-law, uh, which as we said, is a little strained. Uh, and you have his son's relationship with him, played again by Gunnar, and then you see the relationship, this odd little threesome that of these young people that wind up hitchhiking with them.
Mm-hmm.
The basically the plot of the movie is this old professor is receiving an honorary award, and
Right.
he is going on this road trip to pick up this award or to get this honor. And he winds up picking up these three hitchhikers, a young girl and two guys. And one of them is her boyfriend, but it's pretty clear that the other one also, and she even flirts with that, like, oh yeah, he
Right.
loves me too, and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And one of them is religious, he believes in God. The other one's an atheist, and so there's this whole thing where they actually literally wind up fighting because
Yeah.
they're having this argument about that. Uh, and then the professor, they ask him point blank, well, what do you believe? Do you believe in God? And he recites this poem and just kind of stays out of the whole issue. Meanwhile, he's having his own crises, thinking back to his youth. And it's more than a flashback. I mean, it's actually like he's in the memory
Mhm.
of being a younger man and this woman that he loved and who presumably loved him, but who winds up falling for one of his brothers, who's a bit of a rube, who's a bit of a scoundrel, you
Mm.
know, but much more exciting and much more interesting than he is because he's just very academic, he's uh,
Yeah.
a little
Mhm.
bit, you know, too dry for her, and she feels inadequate in front of, in comparison. It's like he's. In fact, she tells him at one point, although you see him as this old man, yeah, you're just too smart for me. I just feel dumb, essentially, compared to you, and I can't live like that. And so he has that regret of, and she goes on and gets married and has all these children and all this stuff, which he never had. And there's also this very interesting relationship between him and his housekeeper, that you see right at the beginning, uh, where she is just not putting up with this nonsense. She's very like, okay, you're taking on this trip here. Do you want breakfast or not? And all this stuff, and that's delightful. Um, so yeah, he's a very interesting character, and he does have a lot of growth over the course of the movie, uh, as he realizes that he is coming to the end of his life. Honestly, I thought, and not to spoil the movie, I I thought he at the end when you see him in bed and
Yes.
he said good night to, and you know what I'm about to say.
Mhm.
I thought he was going to die. I thought this is it. This is his death.
Mhm.
But no, he's alive. He's fine. But either way, it it again, Bergman likes to bring us full circle because it starts with him in bed, waking
Mhm.
up to start his day, and it ends with him in bed after having this trip and this literal journey of sort of self-discovery.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just a very good
Yeah,
film.
I wasn't a fan of the ending. I just thought it was just too neatly,
Mhm.
oh yeah, okay, all right, all right. He's going to bed. He's made his peace with God. Okay, I get
Mhm.
it. Hit me in the
Oh,
face with a brick with it.
Yeah, so that's yeah. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and
mhm.
I'm not going to say it's one of my favorite Bergman movies, but it, it's in the top five.
No,
So
no, no. I'm going to call you on that one because you said you wanted to put it on the top of your list.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
You
I'm
dang
want
it,
to
calling
knock
you.
it out of
dang
your
I'm
it!
calling
sauna's
you
Thought I
on
could
it.
get away with that.
list.
Yeah, it is. It
What?
is. It is my favorite movie. It is my favorite movie. I'll admit that.
You
Your
said
number
you
one is
debated with it. Oh,
Persona.
seven
I'll
zero.
admit. Yeah. I did. Anyway, all right.
I think so. Wild Strawberries was also said to be Bergman puts himself in his films, and this Wild Strawberries is said to be autobiographical, that he did not, because he gave himself over to his career, and he was constantly making a movie or doing a play or doing a television series or something, he did not have the best relationship with his wife and his kids.
Okay.
And
because I was about to say he was fairly young when that movie was made. That movie was made in the 60s.
But I guess he could already tell, and maybe it's because, again, like when they were introducing, they're like, oh, Wild Strawberries, there is his wife, and there is his mistress, and there acting over there is his ex-mistress. And so I think it was pretty obvious that, you know, he also, Fanny and Alexander is also said to be autobiographical, but people mistake that he's Alexander when really his older brother Dar is Alexander and he himself is Fanny. And so I think he clearly was thinking and very introspective. And so he had an understanding about himself even when he was younger. He saw himself in the position of the old man who, I guess he had hopes in the future to, you know, he was seeing himself going in this road, and he's like the old man when the old man was a younger man, and he is making some sort of gesture in his film that he hopes to correct this. I mean, he wasn't proud of it. It was just that he was an extreme workaholic and kind of obsessed with sex.
So what's your number?
Penis in front of
number?
Not that film.
So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Cries and Whispers.
Okay.
And in contrast to his gray period, this is him playing with color. It is absolutely visually stunning. I'm a big fan of the color red. And of course, also, you know, all of us who are huge David Lynch fans have a connection to Red Rooms. And, you know, this is the original Red Room. And it's just it literally is cries and whispers. It's literally people crying in agony or whispering because they don't want to bother the people who are crying in agony. My favorite
Roger Corman did it in the 60s.
My favorite part is when we see it's about a woman dying and her sisters come to visit her and stay with her, but they all have very strained relationships from a very difficult childhood. And the woman who is dying has her nurse there, who is actually the one that is the closest to her, that does comfort her. And we do see strife between the sisters and them being harsh and cruel to each other. And again, literally screaming and crying in agony versus whispering. I want to say one of the things that is very important about his movies to me, for some reason, I'm not sure why. I mean, all of his actresses are just stunning, but Liv Ullmann, oh my God, every time I see her face, she is just, I have no words. I mean,
she is a phenomenal actress. I realized that this week.
Actress, her face is so gorgeous. She's like a vision, you know? And so everything she does, like, it was really, really wonderful to see her talking in the documentary about him and about their relationship and who she is now as an older person. And I just like, there's this beautiful scene at the end after the sister dies, and we see each of the other sisters and the nurse's point of views. And the way that he does this is he focuses on their face in this red room and then kind of blends it into what their point of view is on what happened and their story and what occurred. And all I can say is, like, when you get those extreme close-ups like he does with like the man in Wild Strawberries, or Liv Ullmann in Cries and Whispers, there's something otherworldly about it. It really, really, I don't know how to explain it. It just, you're so there, as it fades into, like, you feel like you're in, literally walking through their heads, and it's just remarkable. I mean, he's a master, an absolute master. So that's my number 5.
My number
Okay.
5, I wrestled with this for a while because I absolutely hated the male character in this this movie, and I'm supposed to, I guess. And that's Scenes from a Marriage, which was actually kind of a TV miniseries, which they broke down into a 3-hour plus movie for showing in the movie theaters later. But Liv Ullmann, again, we are singing her praises. Liv Ullmann is so absolutely off the charts fantastic in this movie. As the woman who, she's so good to this guy, and he just dumps all over her for 6 hours.
I think so. I started watching it, and I just, as I said, like, I started a bunch of them, and then I kind of just went with them until some fell off. And this one fell off, and honestly, the reason why I fell off is because, I wanted to punch him in the face. Like, I just couldn't take him. And so I think that's why I just.
She is so abused by him, and again, I absolutely hate the ending. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, don't tell me.
Just hated the ending of it. But I had to, her performance alone, and this is what everybody said when they reviewed it, her performance alone is what pulls this off completely and totally. Anything else is inconsequential. It's just her performance. It's her movie. It's her swan song. There was the top number 1 of my honorable mentions. I just wrestled with it. What should be number 5? And I had to give it to Liv Ullmann's performance.
Wow. I mean, she really is amazing. You think about, like, she's one of the reasons why I love Persona so much too. I mean, like, she and one other person is in this movie, and Bibi Anderson.
And she doesn't talk a lot in that film.
It's what?
She doesn't talk a lot in that film. She's like mute for the first 3/4 of the film.
But her face, my God, everything in the world is expressed through her face. She's just incredible. And she is this, like, angelic, gorgeous, like, perfect. She's total, like, a Greek goddess. And everything is emoted through, like, she just, she's incredible.
You get no argument from me.
Oh, I have something funny to talk about. Oh, I'll wait until you guys finish saying what your 5th are, just in case this movie is one of them.
Go ahead, Manny.
All right. So my number 5 is The Virgin Spring.
That's the one I wrestled with for number 5.
That's the one I went down the rabbit hole with. Which
So The Virgin Spring is based on a 13th century ballad, and it's the story of a young woman who is on her way to church with some candles, and she winds up being assaulted and killed by a couple of guys and this young boy, who wind up unknowingly going to the house of the woman's father. And they invite him in,
Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow. And they make the mistake because they basically, steal her clothes, and they make the mistake of showing her dress to the girl's mother.
Trying to sell her mother.
Try to sell her own. Not, of course, they don't know that that's who that is. Now, what's interesting is that she doesn't react right away. You know, you would think, oh my God, what are you doing with? No, no, no. She's like, oh, okay. Well, let me talk to my husband about this, and that's when
Let me show him.
yeah, and Bonsido, like, okay, I'll take care of this, and basically takes his revenge on all of them, even the young boy. He doesn't spare
Yeah.
any of them.
It's
And
so brutal. The rape scene
Oh my
itself is
God.
brutal, but
I
the
couldn't-
revenge scene makes the rape scene look tame.
yeah,
The rape scene was, I was really surprised that it was
Yeah.
that graphic. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
was surprised.
I mean, it could have been more graphic. I've seen more graphic rape scenes, unfortunately, but
well,
yeah, it was
I
still
have something to say about that coming
it
up.
was
But
it was brutal, and but
Ugh.
yeah, the revenge, what Sidao or Sidao does to those guys. But what's interesting is what happens afterwards. Is them and why the movie's called The Virgin Spring, is they go to recover their daughter's body, which they find, which kind of surprised me. I thought, well, animals probably would have, you know, there would have been predation
wasn't
by
it
then, but
just
no, there wasn't any.
there was like a
Uh,
matter of hours, right?
yeah, it was just, well,
I mean, it was
like
like
the
she
next
was
day.
It was
she
like
was
the
pretty
next
much
day. Yeah.
taken
Yeah, because they slept
and
the night.
raped right outside of her house.
Yeah, well, no, it was a little ways away.
So
But
the road
anyways,
was.
they go and they find her body,
Mm-hmm.
and they're taking it away, and this spring, well, Bonsido, again, that whole thing about why would God allow this to happen, but at the same time, he's going to dedicate a chapel on that location, and this spring, this water just magically starts coming out of the ground, and creates this stream, uh, and hence the Virgin Spring, because the girl was untouched. She was a virgin before she was assaulted.
Well, until
Um,
7.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
so that's why so it was interesting because she is the one to take the candles because she's a virgin.
Hmm.
And
yeah,
she tells these guys that because they know that that's who brings the candles. So
Right.
they actually are purposefully deflowering her,
Yes.
whatever you
yeah,
want to say.
yeah,
Which makes the scene even more brutal.
Yes.
Yeah. They know.
exactly.
Well,
And it's what they want.
the look of realization, because she's just like naive and she's just like, hi guys, and she's friends with everybody, and then all of a sudden they do something and she's just like, the look of horror on her face when she realizes that
Oh,
Mhm.
whole
gosh.
thing from there down is like this just terrifying roller coaster ride. And
Mhm.
it's very, it's not an easy watch, but it's
No,
worth
no, it isn't.
watching.
It
Nope.
isn't. And the other thing, and I forgot to mention this, is there's another sister who's pregnant.
So she's
And
actually a slave, I think.
Right.
Or a
that's right, not the
nurse.
sister. She's
It's yeah.
who got herself, well, not obviously got herself, but who is pregnant,
And we don't
and
know
Become
how.
pregnant.
she's very
Yeah,
pregnant, but she's
we
very
don't know how
resentful.
she is.
She's very, yeah, but it's implied that she's kind of,
Yeah.
sleeping around and not very,
Not a
and she's
great
very
moral.
resentful.
That's another thing is
Yeah.
she witnesses the rape
Yes, and does nothing to stop it.
and
Mhm.
can't
Or-
stop
or-
it. She's too afraid to stop it, and then she has a hard time telling the parents about it. When the guys show up, then it's really weird because she's like, oh
Yeah.
man, I gotta tell them now.
Yeah.
What happened.
She finally confesses, says, I this is really my fault. You know, I could have stopped it. I didn't because
And
I
that was
wanted it
really
to happen.
painful
I
too to
wanted her to
watch.
suffer. You know, she presented her that much. She wanted her to suffer, but you know, she didn't want her to be murdered. She didn't want her
She
to be
didn't think they were
killed.
going to kill her.
Yeah, and which they do. Uh,
Which I
and
don't think there was really anything that she could have done.
not really. They probably
No.
would have you know killed her too. Uh, so, but I thought that was an
Mhm.
interesting thing. But anyway, so that's my number five, Virgin Spring.
I should have
Uh,
made
I
that
mean,
my
it's
number
got
five.
well, no, I mean it's like I should have put the other movie number one. But anyway, uh, uh, and as far as the storytelling of it, it's definitely one of Bergman's more. I mean, it's just has a beginning, middle, and end. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's no nothing weird, no flashbacks, no nothing. You know, no
Nothing
fantasy
artsy
sequences,
fartsy.
No,
nothing
it's
artsy
kind of like a
fartsy.
fairy
Yeah,
tale,
exactly. Well, yeah, it's well, like I said, it's based on a 13th
a
century
ballad. Mm-hmm.
ballad, so and follows,
And the
of
way
course.
he does it's very much a fairy tale.
Yeah, it has that. Yeah, exactly, it has that fairy tale
Like
quality to it.
the bad wolves are hiding in the
Yeah,
forest for
exactly, exactly.
she could be Little Red Riding Hood carrying
Yes, yes,
herself and her candles, and that means that she's
yeah,
a virgin because only a virgin, they say this numerous times. Oh, you know what they also do in addition to recycling these actors over and over and over, they also, everybody has the same name. Did you notice that? Every single person, every
yes.
movie, there's a
A lot of the same.
Karen, there's a
Exactly.
like
Yeah, yeah. There's a Karen. There's a Frederick. There's
mhm.
a oh, I forget
I
somebody.
can't
Yeah,
remember, but yeah, the names are totally like,
yeah.
oh,
Alma.
that's yeah,
Uh,
that's Karen, and that's
yeah.
they're very different
And
Karens.
again, like I
Mhm.
said, I think there's only like five names in Sweden apparently because
I mean,
no, there's more than that, but yeah, the same names keep cropping up over and over again. Okay, so let's move on to our honorable
oh,
mentions.
okay. So I'll say my honorable mention is um, Virgin Spring, and that the three movies that won Oscars were Virgin Spring in 1960, Through a Glass Darkly in 1961, and Fanny and Alexander in 1982. So Virgin Spring was not at the way beginning of his career. He had done a number of movies. So it's just interesting. It's 1960s. So Bergman's Virgin Spring, it inspired Wes Craven's Last House on the Left.
Hmm.
So I watched both movies, and actually, up until Wes Craven's movie just kind of becomes like a horror bloodbath movie, I found Bergman's to be more disturbing because, I mean, yeah, there's a young girl and they're kind of like traipsing around this like bad part of town and whatever, but there's a certain awareness in them. And in Bergman's movie, this woman is so, or girl is so naive, and
She's
she's
totally
just
oblivious. Yeah.
being
Hmm.
friendly, and like she like has a heart of gold, which is one of the reasons why I think her name was Gary. She's the nursemaid. She hates her. She loves her, but she can't help but hate her and be jealous of
Hmm.
her.
Yeah.
And the recognition that she has and everything like that, it's there are parts of it that are more brutal, even though, of course, cutting people up with chainsaws and all that kind of stuff is in Wes
Yeah,
Craven's. But it
yeah.
was very interesting to watch Wes Craven's movies from 1971. So it was 11 years after The Virgin Spring and it winning an Oscar. But it's a wonderful. They're both hard watches. I mean, the rape scenes are brutal, but it's a very interesting thing to see somebody make a movie so close to what they were inspired by, and then go off, you know, in a Wes Craven kind of way, because I think we all have some, you know, relationship with Wes Craven, at least, you know, if you're Gen X. I don't think there's one Gen X person who hasn't watched
At
what,
least
Friday
one.
13th? Is that
Yeah.
his Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm
Nightmare on
Street.
Elm Street.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my favorite horror movie, actually, is one of the Nightmare on Elm Street. So
His were the best. Yes.
yeah,
Number 1, number 3, and number 7.
three's the one that I've seen like
Yeah,
100
Dream
times.
Warriors just number 3. That was a good
Yeah,
one
I
too.
love
Wes
that
Craven.
one.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
you know, Freddy Krueger is always like, I'm not a big monster person, but I love the whole Freddy Krueger thing and the whole like myth behind him. And so yeah, Wes Craven, I mean, I think I can't speak for people that are younger. I don't know if they know him, but I know the people that I grew up with. You know, he made quite an impact on us. So it was wonderful to have the opportunity to watch those movies.
Well, what's some of your other ones?
That's actually the only yeah, that's only the only one that I had, because I
Okay.
wanted to fit the other one. You know, the other one I cheated and put
And
in
we
my
basically
top
talked
five.
about all the honorable mentions on my list already. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty much. The only one that I have that isn't on y'all's list is Hour of the Wolf, which was Bergman's pretty much the only genuine horror. Like I said, there are horrific elements in some of his movies, but this one is a genuine horror movie. Now, you would think that with a title like that there's a werewolf in it, but no, it's very tense psychological horror. And again, we got Lee Volman and Max von Sydow, who's a writer or an artist out in the. Oh, well, before I get into that, there's another thing that I noticed in a lot of Bergman's movies is that characters wind up going off to a secluded location.
Yeah.
We saw that in Persona. We saw that in well, a lot of his movies.
Cries and Whispers are all trapped in her
Cries
house.
and Whispers. Yeah.
Fanny and Alexander, when they go to live with a minister.
Exactly.
I don't know what the
The minister. Yeah. Or bishop or something, whatever. I forget what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. They go off to this island to to get away from the city and to because he wants to be able to be creative again and all this stuff. And then all this weird stuff starts happening. So I kind of wanted to mention that Bergman did do a straight up horror movie. But all the other ones we've talked about, Cries and Whispers, Scene from a Marriage, Fanny Alexander, and Winter Light were my other honorable mentions. So.
Oh, there was one I did actually want to speak about, but I don't know if I would say an honorable mention, maybe just a mention. It was one of the ones that I had to stop watching because I just could not take the male character, and that was Touch. It was his only English. Well, it's not even fully English. It's part in English and part in Swedish, and it's Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould, yeah.
Oh my God, it was really hard to watch because he's like goes off the deep end for some woman that's like married and doesn't even know why he likes her. It was just really, it's weird because I think actually that Bergman in certain ways wrote women better than men, because the men quite often are these intense powerhouses that don't know their own strength and that don't really understand anything about anything. And that was definitely Elliot Gould's role. But in this movie, what I thought was very interesting was that both Elliot Gould and Barbara Streisand were dating at the time that he was doing this movie. So they both were talking about it in the documentary, A Year in a Life. I always butcher that name. And Barbara Streisand was just, they were talking about what kind of gentleness he approaches his actors with. And, Elliot Gould, of course, was like, this was a masterful director and having the opportunity to work with him. And Barbara Streisand was just so jealous, like so jealous. And it was just really fun watching Elliot Gould and Barbara Streisand, two people that are American actors and that we tend to be more familiar with, talk about what an experience it was to work with, well, for one of them to work with, and for the other one to be jealous and look after what was happening and wish that she could be part of it. And it was, I wish I could have watched the movie. I wish I
You
could
might get
have
through it
watched more
someday.
of it, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Might come back to it at
just
some point.
loses
Yeah.
it. It's just like, so along with the Swedish angst and I can't help sometimes but feel like they're making mountains out of molehills, like there's these huge sweeping dramatic things that are happening. And maybe it is because I'm an atheist, and maybe it is because like half my family died in the Holocaust, and so like there are certain things I'm gonna understand, and certain things I'm just like, why are you so upset about that? Like that's just so intense. I
Right.
don't understand why
Yeah.
it deserves this level of intensity. Now I try to be open-minded, but it is very interesting when when you're an American and you're watching these movies, and what our priorities are versus what other countries' priorities are, and how that goes into our work. And I think that that's also why it was so interesting to be able to see an American director do one of Bergman's movies, and then see what was important to his work that he added to it.
Right.
So this was really wonderful, because not only did I get to watch movies from my favorite director, but I got to go down a lot of rabbit holes that I didn't have the opportunity to before, because Google didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's no
All right.
surprise that we did almost an hour and a half on Bergman.
well, I'm surprised
Yeah.
that I tried to keep it simple and shorter, but as I said, I could take this whole week and teach a course on it. So.
Yeah.
Who are we doing
Well,
next time?
next time, we're back in America, and we will be discussing Christopher Walken.
Yay!
Wow.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
if that's what
That's
you
right.
want.
Oh, I love
It
Christopher.
is. Now, don't, I'm sorry, that just kind of went away there.
Crazy.
Yes, Christopher
What
Walken.
was Rory? What was that that gem of a movie that I saw last when we were talking about Susan Sarandon? The one that was
Oh, who am I this time?
Yes. I recommend Christopher Walken's fans check that out. Manny, I don't know if you had a chance to check it out yet, but
I haven't, but I
that
will.
was
It's probably on the internet somewhere.
it's on YouTube. It's so
All right.
my god, it's seriously, it's like delightful. It's just amazing.
It's a Vonnegut story, so it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's I highly recommend it. Now's a great opportunity to watch it. So
All right. Okay. Well, with that recommendation, and so I don't have an outro for this. So anyway, thank you for watching
thank
this
you.
episode.
This was very
We'll
fun.
see you next time. Keep watching
You,
those movies.
Good night.
Wow, stepped all over my lines. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Dueling walk-ins.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Keep watching those movies, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching this episode of Two Guys and a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell.